Joining us live is the Shadow Veterans Affairs Minister, Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby, good to see you. We will go to the Voice. Parliamentary inquiry into the Voice referendum kicks off this morning. Julian Leese has already said that the inquiry needs to stand in the shoes of the High Court to fully test and examine the wording in the face of potential court challenges. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We're going to have real problems if it goes through with the executive as it currently stands. Look, I'm against it on first principles. It's a racial clause, and I believe our constitution should be devoid of representations or rights based on the colour of your skin. But if you go to it, how are we going to do a budget? I mean, how does that work? We're going to have everybody consulting about the budget from every department, which listeners is the executive, every department, and it'll just completely delay it. What are you going to do with the ASIO? Is ASIO going to come and consult you about what they're up to? Or ASIS, is they going to do it? I mean, how does this work? It is just going to be completely confounded in bureaucracy. And as Robert Godlitson said, forget about May budgets. They'll take forever to put together because if they fulfil their rights and their rights, you have to tell them you're going to bring forward a policy, and then they may come back to you and tell you that they want to consult with it. But on every ABC to Treasury to finance to health to education, all this information going to them, the prospect, they come back and say, now we want to go through all these policies before you actually bring down the budget. I mean, that's just one issue. I mean, it's just completely and utterly overreach. It's mad.
Well, just on the second clause, which, empowers the Voice to advise executive government, it's been furiously opposed. If that were to be taken out, would you support it?
As I said, on first principles, I just don't believe our constitution should be inserting a racial clause. Australia did a great job when they got rid of the White Australia policy. We did a great job for electoral purposes with the 1967 referendum when we counted Indigenous people. And the idea that you're going to insert something where people, I think it's noxious saying, are you dark enough? You have this right. You don't have that right because you're white. You don't have that right because you're Asian. I mean, that's not the Australia I grew up in. We believe, I grew up with the idea that everybody's equal and would be treated equal. And if there's an issue in an area, and I'm in Uralla today, I don't think there's any issues there, but Alice Springs has been in the news, where you deal with it regardless of people's race or colour or creed. You say, here's an issue for Alice Springs which you have to deal with. Otherwise, there's sort of an implicit sense of there's some deficiency in a race, that they need special help. I find that also noxious as well.
Just on to Jacinda Price, would you support her being the Shadow Indigenous spokesperson?
I think Jacinda Price is an incredibly capable and strong person. And what she's had to put up with, the invective that has been thrown her way because she dared differ and she dared stand up, shows that she's a person of immense character. And I think that she's got a great future in politics. I'm not going to start, making suggestions about which portfolios, but I really admire her. And what's been thrown at her, I hope that's not the tenor of what the Voice would be. That's the sort of approach. If you don't agree with us, you're going to be absolutely ridiculed, called a bigot, called a racist, called that you're caught in a media vortex, and the things that she's had to put up with are just beyond the pale.
And just before we go, Barnaby, I want to ask you about this story on religious freedom. It's being tested by Presbyterian schools, the church saying that students who are actively gay or having unmarried straight sex should not be school captains because that doesn't mirror Christian living. Do you agree with them?
Well, there's a range of issues there. First of all, the age of consent. Before the age of consent, you shouldn't be having heterosexual sex either. It's the age of consent. So you're talking about a group of people. I think schools should be allowed to say what their views are. They should be people should be publicly informed of them, like Islamic schools or Christian schools. And if people say that doesn't align with my values, then you should pick another school. Look, it's a messy one, but I just think that parents have a right to say, I have these values and I want the school to have those values, because that's why I'm putting my hand in my pocket to pay money. Where if you go to a public schools, and they're great public schools, they won't ask you those questions. And, that there's always alternatives.